It's been a while now since I did a new Kirblog, so we got a lot to catch up on. But I don't have much to say other than I had gone and watched a lot of anime. Notwithstanding the Smash Direct Thoughts one, which I just figured was necessary because everyone was going to ask for that anyway. It's been like 2 months since I did like a general update Kirblog like this. So, and in that time, yeah, I have watched a lot of stuff, particularly anime movies in all of that time since like the middle of September. And of course, we were busy with Voice October, followed by the Tome Anniversary Week and everything, but we're back to, the normal stuff, and I figured get back to doing one of these kind of general, like, what have I been up to? And this is mostly a what have I been watching lately kind of thing. A lot of stuff I figured people maybe might want to know my opinions on, particularly with movies that have come out recently. To start with, probably I kind of starting off with the best of all of this stuff in particular. Maybe not. We'll see. Among the best of these, because there's some stinkers in this, My Hero Academia, The Two Heroes. I went to go see this in theaters with a whole bunch of friends, not to mention a filled to capacity room, and I'll get to that, of course. But yeah, it was described to me after they had the initial premiere of it at Anime Expo a few months before that it was basically Die Hard with My Hero Academia characters, and you know what? It absolutely was. And of course, to those of you who don't know, it's mostly going to be spoilerific talks about a lot of these things. So apologies if you haven't seen these things, but, that's your warning. Overall, really enjoyed this. There were a few little minor critiques and things that I had with kind of the execution of a few things. This isn't really a spoiler because it's kind of the basic premise is that, Deku and All Might go to this, floating island science land where they, hang out with one of Toshinori, All Might's old friends that he knew from back in his early golden era days or whatever, being a superhero. And leading up to the film, there was a separate anime-only episode of the show that was kind of explaining what led to Deku being invited as a special guest by All Might to go to this place. And then ultimately we find out that a bunch of the other UA students, a bunch of the gang, are also all there, and they all had these kind of like, oh, you just so happen to be here too. Oh, you happen to be here too. Oh, wow. When really it could have just been, oh, we're all going on a field trip, but they spent all this time, on that. Alternatively, and I know that there's no way they would have done this because people would have been upset if all the other characters weren't in there, especially the popular ones. But part of me kind of wished that it was just like a story of Deku and All Might in a separate area, and it's kind of about them doing things disconnected from the rest of the show. Not in terms of the plot, but in terms of just like all the other characters and troubles and everything. But it was fine. I mean, they made good use of the gang. I just thought it was really strange that like they introduced them all in a way that was like you could have just simplified it and spent more time on other things. The other genuinely kind of aggravating thing was they tied some of the stuff that happens with the plot into the main story. Like they have One for All involved somehow, which I felt was kind of unnecessary. I know that was kind of like, oh, isn't that cool? Like it ties into the canon a little bit with that thing, and like, yeah, but that's kind of to its weakness because that kind of takes away from the value of the actual villains that they set up in the movie. But it's so funny because Keith Silverstein once again plays the final villain of an in theaters Funimation movie after seeing Gran Tesoro and One Piece Film Gold a couple years ago already. Now, my God, it's been that long, close to it. He was brilliant. All of the cast was brilliant. Ray Chase was great. Erica Mendez, all the guests and everything, they were all amazing. The dub is, of course, as usual, outstanding. And the whole like infiltration of the building, the different floors, and kind of giving different puzzles and battles and things for each of the sets of characters to do with each successive climb up this building and everything. Very Die Hard, but very cool. A really, really interesting scenario. Kind of like, it was almost in a sense like that long episode of the show kind of thing that often happens with these anime tie-in movies, but very well utilized. A really good choice of setting, pretty good utilization of all the characters and everything. All the new characters that were introduced for the movie particularly really nice. Animation was pretty damn good. Part of me kind of also, this is such a minor nitpick, I kind of wish that they reanimated some of the bits from the show. Not that they stood out, like they actually blended in with the animation style of the movie very well, but it would have been cool maybe to see like a different alternate angle or something instead of just like, here's the footage from the show in part of this movie or whatever. But overall, great time, and I'm very happy to see how well it did in American theaters. Like the fact that a newer series, got in the top 10 highest grossing anime movies in North America in that time, that is an accomplishment. I am very, very happy to see that. And I really hope that happens with other anime movies, and perhaps if they do more My Hero movies, which I'm sure at some point they probably will. Next up, not an anime movie, but a quick series of Fully Coolly Alternative. I gave my thoughts on Progressive a few months ago when that finished airing. Was not a big fan. It was very nonsensical, wasn't all that entertaining, and I didn't really get much out of it by the end of it. Fully Coolly Alternative got much more out of this, much more enjoyed this compared to Progressive. Right away, I knew, even from the trailer, I really, really liked the 4 main girl characters. I remember just seeing them all together and like kind of getting a quick glimpse of what their whole dynamic was. And right away, I love their designs, I love their personalities, and I love their voices as well. Finally getting to see all the characters in action. This was very refreshing. I've not really gotten into like a slice of life type of show in many years. I can't even remember the last one that I was into like this, but this was really fun. This was a nice little kind of throwback to those kind of shows that I hadn't indulged in for anime in general in a long time. And the 4 girls were very, very likable. I liked the format right away of that they were kind of focusing on each one individually, kind of in their own episode with each one. And they had a very clear point of what they were going for and everything. And, the dynamic just is very warm and fuzzy, and they were all cute and funny. They were, pretty emotionally rangeful and everything. And, the dynamic was very nice. A couple things that I wasn't super happy about was, I felt, Pets, the character, the kind of dry humor girl, I feel like her episode didn't quite live up to being as good as it could have been. And then, they kind of ended up not really using as much of her in the finale as I would have liked to. I think that it could have been more interesting to have her still back in the plot and not just like, okay, and then she's gone because of what they were doing with this. And I got what they were going for with it, but it wasn't super satisfying, to be honest. Further things, Mariana's character, the husky girl, she was hilarious and adorable. Was not a fan of how literally every other thing with her, though, was a fat joke and an eating joke. And I was like, all right, you could probably chill out on that a little bit. But otherwise, she was a good character that shone through that. And, that wasn't like a massive detractor or anything. And then otherwise, again, spoiler territory, the ending, I feel like it was getting somewhere really good and really good and really good. And most of that 6th and last episode was pretty solid. But then it just was like, and then it loops back to the beginning, except Pets isn't there. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. Like, what was I supposed to get out of that either? I didn't quite understand like what the point of it was. It felt very Wolf's Rain, but not in a satisfying way, I guess. Spoiler for Wolf's Rain, I guess if you haven't seen that, but so that was a little meh, but the ride throughout it was fun. Amy and I kind of binged through it all in one night when the 6th episode was about to go up, and it was a lot of fun. Neither alternative or progressive hold a candle to the original, but that's okay. They were, it was a fun ride just to watch both of them, and a valiant effort to the animation team that attempted to do a sort of spiritual successor and carry on. Haruko is always hilarious no matter what the hell you do with her, so she was a fun ride in both shows as well. Alternative was the better of the two, still not nearly as good as the original, but that's about it for that. Next up was I went a little while ago to see the new Mamoru Hosoda film, Mirai, or Mirai to Mirai in Japanese. We were originally going to see the English dub premiere, but it wasn't done in time, unfortunately. So we went to go see the subbed version. Still very enjoyable all the same, and I liked it enough that I would like to go see the dubbed version later, which is being done by the lovely folks at MYV Post. And actually, they got some celebrities to be in the cast, which was very cool. Hope that, if that matters for helping to get it, earn some awards or whatever, I hope that happens because that'd be cool. Nonetheless, it was very cool, very interesting, very different kind of movie. And we were actually very lucky that we had Mamoru Hosoda himself show up to do a little quick Q&A at the very end. We had some cringeworthy questions that were asked by certain very frustrating members of the audience, but it was still cool to hear his thoughts and everything. Since this one is not as accessible to see compared to the other ones I'm talking about on this, I won't spoil much of this one. I'll just say it's a very interesting concept. It definitely falls in line with the rest of the theming that Mamoru Hosoda does on his other films about kind of, family member, relationships and, dynamics between, different, you had a father-son dynamic and, mother and her children dynamic and a family atmosphere dynamic, and, you can kind of see the journey that he's sort of going through with, getting married and starting a family and having kids and raising them and they're growing up and everything. And I think that the current state of his life, I can tell, is certainly going through, shining through with the plot of this movie. Makes interesting use of it being in kind of a limited location. It almost entirely takes place within the house of this family of characters. And the focal point is the little boy and then his sister, who is a newborn baby. The other big interesting thing was the fact that it was a very limited cast of characters as well, in a limited setting. And he managed to do a really, really good, solid feature about the relationship between this little kid, his newborn sister, dealing with that, seeing how the dynamic with his own parents change, and then what he's learning from just this little year of his life. I think he's like 4 or 5 or whatever. So it was very, very nice. I think that Summer Wars still probably hasn't been topped as my favorite Hosoda movie so far, but this one is very, very well done and absolutely worth checking out. I still need to watch Wolf Children at some point. I haven't seen it, and I know I'm going to cry like a bitch if I do watch it at some point. But definitely, I'd highly recommend it. I don't know if it'll be back in theaters again at some point or if it'll be on Blu-ray soon, but please go check that one out. Mirai, it's excellent. Now for something not so excellent, something completely different. It was all right, but not at nearly the same level as a Hosoda movie. On a whim, I decided to watch the Bleach Netflix live-action film. I'll keep this brief. It's okay. I had a good time watching it. It is basically an adaptation of the first arc, the Karakura Town stuff, the first season's worth of stuff, whatever you want to call it, from the original Bleach story. It's got the usual guys with, Ichigo and his friends, and Rukia does have Byakuya and Renji in there as well, a bunch of the Hollows and stuff. His family, and I'll say this: it's one of the better live-action anime adaptation films that I've seen. It's pretty reasonably it's pretty reasonably faithful to the source material in terms of the story itself, as well as the representation of who the characters are. They are performed well to the way that they're supposed to be. They look how they are. They're used pretty okay. And they managed to actually condense that arc into a feature in a way that I think worked pretty well. Truthfully, what it also did was shine a light on the fact that even that early stuff in Bleach that I remember liking a lot isn't quite as strong as I remember it being. It's all right, and I can tell that they tried to expand on certain things that were talked about a little bit in the manga and the series, and kind of make more of those like the focal points of the movie as well. And it was entertaining. It was a fun little nostalgic romp down memory lane, and I had a good time watching it. I'm like, okay, this is fine. There was one thing, though, and this is the spoiler, but I mean, it's Bleach. You've seen the show probably already. It's, not much to spoil. It was so stupid at the end that it was making me laugh because of how ridiculous it was. The big climactic fight at the end is Ichigo fights against Renji and Byakuya. And it's a very long, it feels very long. It feels as long as like a Bleach fight or, a shonen big fight that goes on for fucking ever. But, okay, stop me if you've heard this one before. And particularly, this isn't exclusive to Bleach, but it happened a lot in Bleach and shonen stuff in general. Protagonist character is fighting against rival / villain / opponent character. And they're like, and now I'm going to finish you off. No, you'll never finish me off. They do a big strike, and then the protagonist character shoots blood. They fall down, and then the opponent sheathes his sword. You weren't ready, but I defeated you. And then they start walking off. And then the protagonist gets up and is like, get back here. We're not done fighting yet. How are you still standing? And then the protagonist gets back on his feet. Come on, this fight isn't over yet. And then rinse and repeat. This happened like 4 fucking times in a row. From the start of the fight with Renji through Byakuya up until the end. It happens 4 goddamn times. And it was so, I was impressed almost. It's like probably the most stereotypical like Bleach thing a movie could have possibly done. You know, save for that look you get when like, oh no, a character's behind you with that dead-eyed stare and they're going to cut you with their thing or whatever. You better dodge it quick. You know, it was like that shit. It was so ridiculous. And it was still entertaining. It was a fun time. It was cool they got like most of, not all of the dub cast. I don't know what the deal with that was. But it was cool to hear them as the characters again, you know, Johnny and everybody, you know, whoever they got. Yeah, it's a fun ride. If you're nostalgic for Bleach, if you feel like checking it out, it's worth a watch. It's all right, but you know, you're not missing anything if you skip out on it. Okay, so otherwise, here's the last one. All right, so Amy and I have been doing our trading off, showing an anime to each other. We're actually watching Baccano right now for the first time. Maybe I'll do an anime pro Kirblog on that at some point. Who knows? Previously we were watching through a Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which she kind of missed the boat on. Actually saw a lot more of it than she remembered and remembered stuff more than she thought. We just finished up Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, so I was in a big FMA mood as of late. So being in that mood, I decided to do a couple things. First of all, I went and watched and I'm going to not repeat myself too much. I'll actually link at the end of here the Fullmetal Alchemist Kirblog that I did 4 years ago now, if you want to hear my further thoughts about just like having the last time that I rewatched all of the original series and Brotherhood. I decided to go back and rewatch like the last like 5 or 6 episodes of the original series, or the first series, I should say, and Conqueror of Shambhala just for shits. Even more so than I remembered last time. It is contrived and stupid as hell, right down to, and then they're in Germany bullshit. It's so weird because I was describing this to some of my actor friends about this who like remember FMA back in the day. You know, when you have a thing that's like, oh, like that's such a great concept on paper, but then it's badly executed, you know, when you do the final product. The liberties taken, like the original story stuff that they did, Aniplex did for the first Fullmetal Alchemist series, is kind of almost like a really, really shitty concept executed in a way that is entertaining because, you know, the art direction and animation and the performances and everything of that material is very well done. I mean, Conqueror of Shambhala alone, like the animation is gorgeous to look at. But conceptually, it's the dumbest shit that I've ever seen. Like it is even sillier than I remembered it being the last time I watched through that show. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about that. It was interesting to go back and rewatch and remember like, oh yeah, I remember. And then they go to Germany. What the fuck ever. And then Brotherhood is, of course, it's brilliant. And, you know, I was reminded of how goddamn good it was again. And even, you know, oh yeah, this was super influential on some of the Tome characters, particularly Armstrong on Nylok and Riza and Roy on, Kizuna and Zeto, like massively so. Nonetheless, I watched the Fullmetal Alchemist Netflix live-action film, which, funny story, I was sent an audition and semi-offered to play Roy Mustang in it because they were able to get a couple of the voice actors back. They got Vic Mignogna, Aaron Dismuke, and Caitlin Glass back to dub themselves. I decided to pass on it because even if I used a fake name or whatever, did not take attention away from it, people would have found out, and I didn't want to be like a footnote on a wiki article because that's Travis Willingham's part. The guy who played him in the dub did a perfectly fine job for what it was, as did everybody else who was matching some of the characters and stuff. They only got Vic and Caitlin and Aaron back, which was great. It was good for them. It was cool to hear them as those characters again in like semi-new material, even though it's kind of just adapting like part of the first section of the story followed by, you know, some other stuff from way later. It's bad. It's so bad. Like it's like, I don't know whether to put it like, no, you know what? Dragon Ball Evolution is hilarious because of how stupid it is. This is not. This is like, I was amused in the moment of seeing it, but this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, I could live with never seeing this again. I could stomach watching Dragon Ball Evolution again with like people and like, haha, make fun of it and laugh at it or whatever. Not this one. It's bad. Boy, oh boy, this is not good. And it's so weird. I know people probably pointed this out, that it's like, it's when Japan does live action anime adaptation films, they tend to be a little bit better, like usually a bit better than the American made ones, overall, even if they're not great. This one was, eek. Yeah, I hope we don't get more. I don't know if it did well enough to warrant more. I hope to God not, because no thanks. Not even for the novelty. I'm just, eek. That's about all I have to say about that. If you are curious, I mean, you've probably already watched it by this point, but if you're mildly curious, it's worth like a half a laugh at best. It's not even. Anyway, that's all the anime shit that I watched. I'm watching Bakano right now. I'm going to be playing Pokemon Let's Go very soon. I've actually probably bought it by the time this Kirblog comes out. Lately, I've just been working on the $50 tier characters for the past couple months, ever since I healed up from my tendonitis a little bit. Almost done with that. Might be done with that by the end of the month. Looking like I'm going to be able to finish all the Kickstarter Tome RPG characters, very soon. And tonight, you can hear me on Mob Psycho 100. I think it's episode 4 that's airing tonight. And a big Shawapoof episode for Hunter x Hunter tonight, where I'm facing off against Moral, voiced by the lovely Kyle A. Bear. And you'll, if you know Hunter x Hunter, this is a big episode for Shawapoof because it involves lots of little mini versions of myself, which I'll have some trivia about that probably on Twitter or something. Follow me on Twitter for some live tweeting stuff about that. And also, in case you missed it, I was the voice of this little character named Magire in an episode of Boruto that was last weekend, the weekend before, I forget. That was fun. Big thanks to Viz and Studiopolis for having me on board for that. And, whenever the hell Kawaki will show up in like 100 bajillion episodes from now and be of any importance, then I'll be in a job for Naruto. We'll see what happens with that. But anyway, yeah, that's about it for now. I'm going back to doing regular Kirblog updates again. If you guys have any questions about just any little random questions and things that I can answer, like for the mailbag section again, if you made it this far, leave a comment about leave a question on here. You can tweet at me one, or you can shoot me one on Tumblr or whatever you feel like. And mayhaps I will answer it during the mailbag section at the end of the next Kirblog that I do. So thanks for tuning in. I'll be back to streaming next week, and hope you all have a lovely Thanksgiving. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, and if you don't, then I'm sorry you don't get any turkey because it's delicious. You're missing out. Get some turkey anyway. Why the hell not? Pretend to be an American, even though being an American sucks sometimes. Nonetheless, thank you for listening. I'll catch you all very soon. Bye, like some kind of NSYNC song. See ya.